Hi, Martha Lewis here. We have a consultation scheduled soon. And so I wanted to give you some information about the program and how it's different from anything that you've tried before and give you some of the details of what it includes. And that way we can spend the time on our call getting to know each other, making sure we're a good fit to work together and getting all of your questions answered. All right, so let's talk about how this is different from anything else. So first of all, we are looking at both the body and the mind. Now, you probably know I'm doing some lab tests to find out what's going on in your body, and that's really important. And that's usually what's missing and what people haven't tried before. But there's also a mental component to not sleeping, as you're probably aware of, that it gets in your head, right? And you might have some anxiety about sleep, some worry about going to bed, possibly a lot of negativity about sleep. And we also want to help with stress in general in your life because stress affects the body over time. So this is very much a body and mind program. Now, this is also getting to the root cause. So we're going to be looking for imbalances in your body that lead to insomnia. So there are lots of possibilities, including gut health and liver function and hormones and more. And we're going to be looking at all of those with the tests we do. So this is not, recommending Band-Aids to cover up symptoms. This is finding out what's keeping you awake and correcting those things over time so that you can sleep better permanently and not have to take a bunch of supplements or pills to be able to sleep better. Now, this is also testing instead of guessing. If you were like I was, you've probably tried a lot of different supplements, right? Melatonin, magnesium, CBD, there's so many things out there to help with sleep. And you're just guessing if you don't actually know what your body needs. And so that's really the benefit of these tests, is that we're able to see exactly what's going to help you. So yes, a lot of people need magnesium, but it's all about magnesium being in balance with the other minerals. So there's just a lot more to it than saying just this one thing is going to help. So instead of guessing at supplements, we're going to test. Now, we also use optimal ranges instead of what are called the lab's reference ranges. So for example, if you get blood work done, the lab takes this average of the people taking the test, and they're like 25% on either side is what's called normal. But what's common or normal is not the same as what is ideal. So we're looking for optimal range that people are in when they're in good health without symptoms. And so if you have recent blood work within the past year, we can definitely look at that as well as the other tests we'll do. And a lot of times we can get some more clues there from interpreting them, looking at these optimal ranges. Now, we also use these optimal ranges in the tests that we run. So for example, this is from the GI map here. You can see it's looking at parasites and Giardia. The lab isn't marking this red. That would mean that it's high, but it's still showing Giardia at a certain level. So I see this as something to address no matter what. And a lot of other practitioners they just scroll through and look for what's low and high and address that. And so they skip right over something like this. Now it's the same when we look at this intestinal health for digestion. So steatocrit is an enzyme that digests fat. And you can see the lab wants it to be less than 15. So it's not flagging it high at this 14 level. Well, I like to see steatocrit as close to 0 as possible. So anyone who has steatocrit at 5 or more, I'm still going to be recommending supplementing with fat enzymes, fat digesting enzymes, temporarily, because this person still needs some support. It's the same with the elastase 1 underneath there. So the lab's saying anything greater than 200 is ideal. I like to see it over 500. That's what I'm looking for. So I would also be recommending that they supplement with these digestive enzymes. And so it's a matter of how I've been trained to interpret the tests, where I'm not just relying on the lab's findings. Again, we're looking for optimal ranges. Now, another thing that is really unique about this program is that we are looking for everything at once. So a lot of practitioners focus on one thing at a time. They do one test at a time. And that's why they say, well, I don't know how much this is going to cost you. It depends on what tests you need. So if they specialize in hormones, they might start with hormones. Or if they think your issue is hormones, they'll start with hormones. Say you need some supplementation. A few months later, you aren't any better. Your sleep isn't better. So they're like, oh, well, maybe we should do a gut test. And then they do a gut test. And so that's going to take a long time to do one thing at a time. Whereas we are looking at everything at once. That's why we do multiple tests right off the bat to see how all the different systems in your body are functioning. And then we give you a plan to get everything in balance at the same time, because everything affects everything else, right? Like our gut health affects our hormones affect our gut health, affect our liver function. It's all related. So if you only address one thing, you're way less likely to get better than if we're addressing everything at once. That's why this program is so successful. And I do the 4 tests so that we don't miss anything. And because I want you to get better as quickly as possible. So we're getting this big picture, what's going on in the body, and there's always more than one thing, because again, everything affects everything else. So, and then we give you this plan to get everything back in balance. And this is going to be the fastest and most effective way to see improvements. Now, this is really a health restoring program. So yes, we specialize in sleep, but it's finding everything that's out of balance in your body and working to correct those things, because a healthy body sleeps normally. It's what we're meant to do. We haven't evolved out of needing sleep. And so we are meant to sleep well. So if you aren't, it's just a matter of finding what is keeping you from sleeping well, what is keeping you awake at night, and correcting those things and restoring your health as we go along. So let's talk about what this includes. So this is going to include 4 different lab tests. And these are different than blood work or what you would order from your doctor, because they aren't diagnosing anything. They're called functional lab tests because they show how different systems in your body are functioning or working and what isn't functioning ideally. So then we know what to work on. So the first test I do is called a Dutch test. This is a dried urine hormone test. It's looking at sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA. And because you are taking 5 samples in 24 hours, we are able to see the average of your hormones throughout the day. So this is much more accurate than blood work or saliva, where you're taking it at that second in time when our hormones fluctuate. Even our sex hormones fluctuate slightly throughout the day. So it's a lot more accurate to get this average. And then for menstruating women, you take this between days 19 and 21 of your cycle when your hormones are the highest. So we see the maximum that your body is able to make. And that's how we interpret it. Now, what's great about this test is that it also shows how those hormones are being broken down by your body, especially by your liver. So this gives a lot of clues into the different parts of liver detoxification, which is super important. And then this is also looking at your cortisol pattern. So again, instead of it being a morning cortisol that might come out normal, it's going to show your pattern throughout the 24 hours, because cortisol should be lowest first thing in the morning, spike to its highest level within 2 hours of waking up, and then it's going to gradually go down throughout the day. Well, a lot of my clients with sleep issues, their cortisol is high at bedtime or high in the middle of the night, and it totally explains why they aren't sleeping. So it's really important to see that pattern. And we also want to know how much cortisol your body's making right now. Is it still making a lot because you're still under a lot of stress? Or has it become depleted over time because you've had so much stress and now you aren't able to handle stress very well? So I see both scenarios in my clients. This test also looks at melatonin. It looks at some B vitamins. It gives me a lot of information. Now, the next test we do is the GI map, or a gastrointestinal map. And this is a stool test that shows what's living in your gut. So it shows about 75 different things, including pathogens like parasites, bad bacteria like H. pylori, yeast like Candida. And the reason this is so important for sleep is because these pathogens are nocturnal. So it's the middle of the night that they are most active, creating a lot of toxins, causing a lot of inflammation. And then when there's inflammation, your body releases cortisol, which is going to wake you up. So this is a common reason why people wake up at 3 and 4 in the morning and can't go back to sleep. Now, this test also looks at the good bacteria in your gut, which is also super important because those good bacteria make up to 90% of our neurotransmitters. So serotonin, dopamine, GABA, melatonin, all of these chemicals that help us feel good and relax and able to sleep, we need enough good gut bacteria. But you can also have too much good gut bacteria. So sometimes they see that. And in that case, like taking a probiotic is just adding more fuel to the fire. So that's why the testing is so important. Now, this test also shows, as you saw, how well you're digesting food. It has a marker for liver function, for how strong your immune system is in your gut, for how much inflammation is in your gut, and it has a marker for gluten sensitivity. So it gives us overall snapshot of your gut health, so we know what to address. Now, the next test I do is a neurofocus panel, and this is a neurotransmitter test. So it's looking at serotonin, dopamine, GABA, histamine, glutamate, looks at 7 different neurotransmitters. And I use this because I found that, yes, we want to address why neurotransmitters are high or low long-term, but I found people get a lot better, a lot faster if we can supplement and help with this neurotransmitter imbalance immediately. They'll see immediate changes in their sleep and mood. So that's why this test is so valuable. And then the last test we do is called a hair tissue mineral analysis. So this is using your hair to look at your mineral status, and different mineral imbalances can lead to sleep issues. So, and again, it's more than just magnesium. It's about them being in balance with each other. This test also looks at heavy metals. So mercury, arsenic, aluminum, uranium. So all of these things, they accumulate in the brain and the liver, so they add an extra burden to the liver, and they can cause neurological issues, including insomnia. So we're using all 4 of these tests to get the big picture, what's going on in your body, what pieces of the puzzle apply to you that we need to work on addressing. So then what we do is we give you a customized protocol. And so this is very holistic, in that, yes, we are recommending supplements to get back in balance, that I just want you to be taking supplements for the short term and not having to take all these pills forever. But we're also looking at diet. We're looking at exercise. We're looking at habits around sleep, if you aren't already doing all the sleep hygiene things that you probably know. And again, we're helping with stress and that mental part of not sleeping. So it's a very holistic plan that we're giving you. And so we start immediately. It does take about a month to get all the test results back, but we start immediately. We send you, an intake questionnaire so we know about your health history, about any supplements or medications you're taking, about your habits, about your diet, send a food and beverage log. And so we can get started immediately with making some changes. And a lot of times people start sleeping better before we even get the tests back. But then the tests are going to show what we need to address in their body, again, so that long term, this is, they're going to get back in balance and can sleep a lot better for good. Now, you also have, it's actually 12 sessions over 6 months. And so you're meeting twice a month with your coach. And so during those sessions, again, we're giving you the plan. We're talking about what changes you can make. You have a really long session once we get the test results back to go over those. We explain everything so that you aren't just left having no idea what any of it means. We really want you to understand, what's going on in your body that's keeping you from sleeping. And you're going to be a lot more motivated to make changes when you can see on paper, like, this is affecting your sleep. So this is why we suggest doing these things. But there can be a lot of mind drama about making changes, right? So that's also what the sessions are for. And to, again, helping with stress in general, negativity, worry about sleep, things like that. And I will also be sending you weekly trainings on sleep, health, and stress. So my goal is for you to start sleeping better as quickly as possible. So I want to send as many resources as I can that you can start implementing immediately so that you get better. You also get ongoing email support with your coach. So if questions come up between sessions, you just send her an email and she'll get back to you within 24 hours, Monday through Friday. So you have that support. And that's honestly what's missing from so many other programs, is that you're just given a bunch of information. You're told to go take these supplements and don't eat these things and good luck. And that's it. So it's really the support that is going to ensure that you're successful in the program. And so the investment is $5,000 or 5 monthly payments of $1,050. All right, so I do get a few commonly asked questions that I want to go over really quickly as well. So the number one question is, can I use insurance? Unfortunately, insurance does not cover these tests. I've even had clients order a couple of them through their doctor and insurance still doesn't cover it. And it's because they aren't diagnosing anything. It's part of the problem with our medical and insurance systems. Like, I wish insurance covered these because they are preventative. They're about restoring health. Like, they would save the insurance companies a lot of money in the long term, but it's just not how the system works. However, I have had clients use health savings accounts or flexible savings accounts for this program. So if that's something that you have, that's likely an option for you. Okay, how long does it take? So I've made the program 6 months because it can take up to 6 months, especially if there's something major going on in the gut, to finish a protocol for that, for you to see improvement. However, some of my clients start sleeping better really quickly. The average is about 3 months, but I give it 6 months to support you, with all of our recommendations, because 6 months is the maximum amount of time that you should, see some improvement in how you're sleeping and how you're feeling. And so then people want to know, of course, well, will this work? And I am so proud to say that I have a 95% success rate. So my clients who follow our recommendations, they get better. And if they don't, there's either two reasons for that. Either they just need a little bit more time, or we just need to dig a little bit deeper. And so, because again, a healthy body's meant to sleep well. So why wouldn't it work? Like, we're going to figure out what's keeping you from sleeping. And if it doesn't work, you just need a little more time, most likely. But again, for most people, it does. Okay, why do I do a program? And I kind of already touched on this with the support. The support and having those follow-up sessions is what makes a program successful. So again, I don't want to just give people a bunch of information, tell them to make all these changes, send them on their way. If they don't get better, they say the program doesn't work, right? I don't have a 95% success rate. So this is what makes it so effective and what is missing from almost all other programs out there. Another thing I want to add that I didn't have on here that makes this program different is because we specialize in sleep. So I don't know almost anyone else who's doing these functional lab tests and specializing in sleep. And my team member, Deb, and I have both had sleep issues. So we know how it is to not be able to sleep. We know how frustrating it is, how miserable it is. That is why we are super motivated to get you sleeping better as quickly as possible. And why I've designed this program to be centered around what gets in the way of sleep. All right. Thanks so much for watching this. And I really look forward to chatting on our consultation and hopefully working with you soon. All right.